Hello, everybody who may be watching this video. This is all about the Invention Bootcamp, and with me, I have three all-star mentors who will be guiding us or conversating us through the conversation about Invention Bootcamp, what it means to mentors, what it means to students, and what it means to the bigger picture of engineering, learning, and STEM. Let's start off with some introductions. I'm going to go last. I'm not important. I'm just the host. We want to hear from everyone else.
So I'm Estefani Reyes. I'm a mechanical engineering major and going into my second year at PSU. And something fun I like to do is learning about other cultures and their languages.
It's me, Madison. I am an environmental engineer. I am entering my last year at Portland State.
Wow, awesome.
I cook a lot of food. I eat a lot of food. I don't know if that's interesting. I grow my own food. I really like gardening, so I guess that's kind of cool.
I'm Tyler Werbin. I'm also a mechanical engineer entering my second year at PSU. And I would say to counterbalance, all the technical, mathy, logic side of engineering, I'm exploring my creative side with art and creative writing.
Awesome.
Back
Back to me. My name is Mike. I am a computer science grad student now, and I just started my first term in the spring. And hopefully it won't be my last because these remote classes are pretty tough. Invention Bootcamp mentors. Before we talk about what a mentor is, would anyone like to sum up what Invention Bootcamp, what is Invention Bootcamp? What's that all about?
I feel like Invention Bootcamp is the culmination of the introduction of what STEM is to high school students. It's also the coupling shared experience of people, us mentors in college, being able to share with high school students how we navigate college as STEM students, which I think is really important. And yeah, learning just some basic fun skills to get the students interested in what exactly engineering is. When I was in high school, I didn't even know engineering was a job. So just letting the children know, teaching the younger generation.
Let me piggyback on that a little bit because I didn't know that engineering or that being a scientist was a job. Even though I watched Bill Nye the Science Guy, and they would have guest scientists, they never really said this is my job and I make $50,000 a year and this is how I got there. It was just meet the scientists and now they're doing a thing. So why does that matter? Why should more kids know about engineering as a job? Anyone who wants to pick up the mantle for that question.
I didn't know about engineering, I only know doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. And it wasn't until many years later after high school I realized, engineering's a thing. But I think it's important for students, especially high school students, just to know their options. If one career doesn't fit them very well, there's so many other things. There's millions of careers that we don't know about. So I think it's important for them to know what's out there, what's possible. Maybe they'll like it, maybe they won't. But it's important for them to know their options.
You usually see maybe it's very white male dominated. So I guess this camp kind of shows you that not only men can be an engineer, but also women. And maybe even if you didn't know it was an option and you like it and you're interested in it, you can go into it too.
And then also they might see that they might look at a mentor and be like, this mentor is so much like me. They look like me, they play Mario Kart with me. So if they can do it, then I can do it. And yeah, that's that's one of those moments. Oh my gosh. So we should also talk about. So we're starting to get into the deep stuff, like real quick. This is cool. Just jumping in the deep end. But what is the role of like the mentor? Like what do mentors do? I mean, I know. You all know what mentors do, but we want to hear you say it and tell the folks out there like what it means to be a mentor for Invention Bootcamp.
I mean, I would say that a mentor is someone that can sit down with you, well, I guess we're not in person, like across the table, across a screen, and be able to guide you through things that are really difficult, maybe share some little bits and pieces of experience with you, and like help you navigate a system that's kind of complicated. School's kind of complicated. Mechanical engineering, kind of complicated. So like to be able to have somebody there that you can trust and you feel comfortable with to like talk like, hey, maybe I don't understand this, or I'm having a rough time with understanding how to apply for scholarships, and for them to step up and be like, oh, well, yeah, I got that experience. Let me share that with you. That for me is like, yeah, being a mentor.
And as a mentor, I thought it was really important to just listen to the students. Each of them, they have their own story. They come from different backgrounds, and to just listen and hear them out. And yeah, it's great that we're coaching them through like coding and all these mechanical systems and stuff. And I think that's really important, but also like it's encouraging to the students, encouraging them that they can go to college. This is an option. It doesn't matter where you come from. This is the American dream. You can make it happen.
We, as a mentor, it's important to connect not only through the education part, but also the personal part. And so kind of like Madison and Tyler said, just sharing our own experience was as important as getting them through the projects that we were working on.
This is a very vague general question. As a student, how did you feel about remote learning? What was that experience like for you, remote learning at PSU? You just made the switch. All of a sudden, I got to take all my classes through a computer. Like the week before that, I was doing finals. What was that like? Like as a student, what was remote learning like for you?
Yeah, I am a person who is highly distracted all the time. So for me, in-person classes are extremely valuable to like my success and tied into my success in a class. So when I initially heard that everything was going online, I mean, I understood. I was like, okay, I need to do my part. This is not safe for people to be going to school right now. Like, I understand that. But I initially went into spring term thinking I'm going to fail all my classes. I'm going to struggle with this. And really only one of my classes ended up being a struggle bus, if I'm completely honest. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that my teachers were really understanding of the situation. So.
I moved on campus because I knew that being at home was going to be a huge distraction, just because I live in a really small trailer, and so you literally know what everyone else is doing. And so that was one of the struggles. But I think it kind of worked out in the end. Something positive that came out of it was that my parents saw how hard engineering is and all the work that I put into it. So when I was on campus, they tell me to come home every single weekend. And I did for some time, but I think now I feel like they understand the difficulty that goes into just engineering.
Yeah, so I guess my first encounter with this online learning, like with Zoom and everything, I guess it was the finals week, and I was super annoyed that I'd have to take my finals online. I was like, what the heck? Like this, like I'm I am like a very honest person and I hate cheating. And I'm like, how are they going to stop anybody from doing that? Plus, I feel like I focus better in a huge environment and I can like focus not on a screen. On a piece of paper, I can do my best work. So I was super annoyed. At the beginning of spring term, for whatever reason, I took on a huge load and I was like, oh. But luckily, I had previous online experience from online classes in the past. So I was kind of a little bit prepared. I'm like, okay, I can guess what it's going to be like. It's going to be different and I'm not used to these online lectures, but we'll make it happen. And it worked out. One problem I found was like I was living in the dorms and I'm in this really small like apartment space. Like I have a bathroom, I have a bed, and I have my like desk and kitchen area. And like my life was on my computer. Like I was only doing schoolwork. Like I had no division. It was like work, bed, eat, work, bed, eat, you know. So it was just and it's the COVID times and I couldn't hang out with friends. It was super awkward, but it was just I couldn't separate, and that was my biggest challenge.
So what was that experience like? Being the teacher in a way, like presenting on user-defined functions, in a remote learning environment when the week before that you were a student who absolutely hated remote classes. Well, what was that like?
Well, from what I experienced through the classes, the remote learning classes, it was something cool to apply what I had learned in the student position and just, knowing how I would have been more engaged, like turning on the cameras and kind of like Madison said, it was also, kind of sad hearing everything that the students went through when they were sharing their own experiences with remote learning. And then taking that information and trying to make Invention Camp funner for the students, not just making it about the educational part, but also about their personal feelings or just making it fun overall.
We had an edge, okay? We had an edge because coming from a student's perspective now in the position of an authority figure, we kind of knew like the ins and outs of what the students were experiencing on their end, you know? Sitting in lectures over Zoom is hard. Nobody really wants to do it. And I think that when Jerry talks about like how the magic happened in the breakout rooms, like I think that is such a powerful statement for educators across the nation right now, because that was the way that students could actually interact and engage in the Zoom format. Like that was the time for them to speak up, to show their personality a little bit, to chat with us, to say, hey, I'm not going to speak up in a class of 50 plus people, but I'll speak up when it's, just the 5 of us sitting here. And I took on this role of like, yes, I'm here to listen to you, but I also kind of want you to have fun. Like, this is a summer camp, A, and B, like, I don't even know the type of struggle that y'all have been going through with high school learning. If I were to do remote learning in high school, no, I would have not graduated. I would tell you that right now. So I couldn't even really imagine like what they've been going through, and even just hearing a little bit of their input of like what they had done with remote learning in their own high schools was it was kind of depressing, just nobody knew what to do. So they were all thrown into the situation. There was one student who said, they just essentially told us seniors to not do any work for the last half of our school year. Like, we just didn't do anything.
Wow.
And yeah, so it really like it shocked me, but it gave me an opportunity to step in as somebody who was able to do remote learning at a college level, which I think, universities were maybe a little bit more equipped to deal with this and say, hey, here's a way that maybe you could approach your own learning through Zoom as a student going back to school. I hope you go back to school, that type of thing.
I realized how hard the teachers work. It was not easy to in this format. And I had a lot of like empathy and understanding of how these teachers worked and how understanding they really were. And I really appreciated that. And I wanted to give that to the students. I also realized that in the online format, when you have your video off, how disenchanting and how disconnected that feels. If you can see somebody's face, you can see their facial expression. I'm talking with my hands right now. Like, it gives me personality. Like, this is my character. And when you turn that off, it just like removes you. And it's really, I'll be honest, I did that when I was learning. As a student, I just turned my camera off. It was easier. I could do whatever kind of in the background. But as a mentor, I was like, I gotta have my camera on. These students gotta see me. I'm here. They gotta know that I'm here for them. And I know moving forward that I'm always gonna have my camera on because I respect the teachers and I want to be there for them too.
So mentors, why did you decide to become a mentor?
I'll be honest, I'll be real. Like, it was pretty selfish reasons, honestly. I wanted to improve my own understanding of the material. It was paid mentorship, and I was like, hey, that's awesome. Luckily, Mike, you came into my class like, hey, this is a super opportunity. You should totally join. It turned out to be very competitive, but I think a lot more out of it than I expected. And I thought that because it was in an online format, I could stay safe and improve my skills and help these students that I could so closely relate with. Like, as a student, I didn't know anything about engineering. I really wish I would have had a mentor who could have told me about college, because I was first gen. Neither of my parents, hardly anybody in my family has been to college, and I can't really, share those experiences with me. So, I was kind of just walking in dark. And if I had a mentor, I would have had a little bit more confidence, and it would have been great. So I wanted to share that with those students.
If it wouldn't have been in this virtual format, I wouldn't have applied because I'm too far away from Portland. But I think that really encouraged me to apply. And also, like Tyler, I'm a first gen student and I didn't really know about engineering and didn't get to participate in something like Invention Bootcamp, which would have opened maybe that door of knowing more about engineering, or just I guess learning more about it. And also I had 2 mentors this first year at PSU, and so I saw how helpful they were to me, and so I also wanted to pass on some of the knowledge that I learned as well to younger students, because I think high school is like the first place that can really encourage a student to pursue engineering, or at least get some interest in it.
Thanks for sharing. Madison, did you have anything you're... Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure. So I got an email through the civil engineering department that just said, hey, you want a summer job? Do you want to be a mentor? And I was like, totally. I didn't even know it was really like mechanical based at all. I was just like, oh, I get to like hang out with high school students and like talk to them about college. Like, that sounds really sick. That sounds awesome. So that was like the initial reason of like why I applied. And then when Jerry and Kavi reached out to me being like, hey, we think that you would maybe be a good fit for this, I started doing my own research on it. Like, what am I getting myself into? And found out like, oh, just the sheer importance and magnitude of what Invention Bootcamp is, you know, to reach out to students who are underrepresented, to reach out to students who don't really know where their path to college exists, you know, if they don't necessarily have like their family backing them up on that, you know, because a lot of students aren't lucky like that. And I just thought, wow, just like Estefani, just like Tyler, how cool would this have been for me in high school? How cool and how valuable that would have been for me. Like, I'm going into my 7th year in higher education, and not to say that like it wasn't a valuable experience for me, but I feel like if I had had maybe a little bit more direction growing up, and somebody sitting there telling me like, yeah, engineering's a job, like, yeah, and not only that, but like you can do it. Being like a woman, I was always supposed to be like, I don't know, like an artist or something, which is cool, and I love that for people, but like that just wasn't really what I saw myself doing. um, so for someone to actually sit down across from me and say like, hey, you can be good at math, did you know that? It was like, wow, I can't believe how meaningful this could be. And it really just like honestly hyped me up. And there was like no turning back. I was like, I'm going to get this job. Like there's no other option.
Wow. I think if Kavi and Jerry watch this, they're gonna like have like tears coming to their eyes, hearing about why you all decided to become mentors.